I honestly don't know why I'm about to do this. But, I'm going to do it anyway. So, I'm going to say right from the start, if you're a little kid, please exit out of this video right now. Especially if you don't want your childhood ruined. Because I'm about to read a 10-chapter fan fiction of Zelda and Link. It's got 10 chapters, but when I tried to load chapter 10, it didn't work. It wasn't going to load. And hopefully it works better this time. Alright. Happily Ever After. Chapter 1. By Alexandra Spears. Chapter 1. Due to a law, King Harkeon... Yeah. Whatever, I'm not going to say his name because I don't know how to pronounce it. Due to a law, the king chose to enforce that stated if Zelda wasn't married by the time she was 18, he would choose for her. Zelda was married to Link, the young man the king had chosen. Link was happy, as he loved Zelda and wanted to be with her. Zelda loved Link, but she wasn't about to admit it. I can see that boy cares for you more than anything, her father had explained when he explained his choice of a husband for her. It doesn't matter that she's not royalty. Any child of yours is the next heir to the throne. Zelda, I know you care for him. It's easy to see that he cares deeply for you. I'm sure you'll learn to be happy with him. By the way, you might hear my cat. Zelda didn't put up much of a fight at all. And she already knew Link. He wasn't like those snobby princes that came around asking for her hand in marriage. He defeated Ganondorf when they were 17. He was a month older than she, and Zelda had kept him around because one never knew who else might be after the Triforce. A bit of, so Zelda's kind of using him to that point. I'll meet you in your room tonight, Link had whispered in her ear after they were married. Zelda was up in her room now, dressed in her favorite long-sleeved pink nightgown. She was a little nervous. Surely Link would want to have sex with her. Tonight was their wedding night. She was still a virgin, and she knew that he was too. At least he had morals, she thought. Maybe he'd just want to sleep with her, and that was it. She did not want to be married to him, at least not right now. She wanted it to be on her terms. That bitch. There was a knock at the door. Come in, she called. Link came in, dressed in his regular clothes. Hi, Zelda, he said, smiling a little. Yeah, I know this didn't go the way you wanted it, but I do love you, Zelda. A lot. He closed the door behind him. He looked over at her. I always did like that nightgown of yours. Zelda self-consciously tugged on the nightgown sleeves. Self-consciously, whatever, tugged on the nightgown sleeves, knowing that they left her shoulders and some cleavage bare. I suppose you want to have sex with me, she said softly. Well, yeah, but I'm not going to rush you, he said. And I've heard that the first time hurts for a girl. I'll be really gentle with you, I promise. I'm not going to just pounce on you and have my way with you and wind up hurting you. That's no way to start a relationship, he smiled. Well, at least Ganondorf isn't a rapist like Bowser is. You'll have the honor of being my first lover. Zelda sat down on her bed. Link watched her carefully. He'd known her for close to 3 years, so he knew she was rather scared and nervous. You just want to sleep? He asked. She nodded. If it's all right. Link took off his clothes, stripping down to his underpants. I didn't bring my nightshirt, he explained as he crawled into bed next to her. That's all right, said Zelda. They sat next to each other, Zelda listlessly picking at the blanket. May I at least have a kiss goodnight, princess? Link asked. Zelda nodded, and Link gently took her face into his hands and caressed her lips with his. His tongue gently probed between her lips, and she opened her mouth, allowing it inside. His hands caressed her neck and slid down her shoulders gently, pushing the tops of the sleeves off her shoulders. Link, murmured Zelda, as his lips devoured her neck. I can't help it, Zelda. You look so sexy in this. But you're my wife now. Just relax, sweetheart. All right, just do it, Zelda whispered. This is amazing. They were going to sooner or later. Might as well get it over with, she was thinking. It's probably how it is with every girl. Just get this over with. I want you to enjoy this too, Link said as he kissed along her jawline. I'll go slow. His hands gently pushed the sleeves down further. His lips traced kisses along her collarbone. His mouth worked its way back up her neck and back to her mouth. Zelda returned his kisses as he eased her backward into her pillows. Zelda was awakened late the next morning by sunlight. Streaming through the window, her nude body was pressed against Link's, and his arms were still around her. And she remembered the night before. It had been wonderful. Link had done his best to please her. She gently disentangled herself and sat up, the blankets covering her breasts. Next to her, Link was still sleeping, and she couldn't help but think that he looked so cute, so precious when he was asleep. She thought she'd regret being married to Link. She wanted to wait a while and be sure if she wanted to marry him. But now, she was starting not to mind it. Link opened his brown eyes and reached up for her. Don't get up yet, Zelda, he mumbled. He gently pulled her back down next to him and wrapped his arms around her. I slept so good last night with you next to me. It's a fucking story. They shared a long, sweet kiss, and Link rolled over on top of her. Link, Zelda murmured, as the kiss became more passionate and heated. I want to make love to you again, Zelda, Link whispered in her ear. Will you let me? Zelda nodded. That afternoon, Zelda was sitting out in one of the courtyards at North Castle. Boston thought last night she'd lost her virginity to Link, and had taken his as well. She'd known that she had to be married by the age of 18. It was amazing. Some of those princes who wanted to court her had actually been boorish. But Link, a peasant, had treated her so gently and lovingly. He had a nice body, too, she reflected. All the adventuring and practicing had done that. She closed her eyes, remembered the feel of his soft but strong hands on her body. She couldn't really believe what she'd let him do to her this morning. Though in the bathtub. But it had felt so wonderful. He hadn't done it to shock her, but give her pleasure. And he succeeded in pleasuring her.
This is fucking amazing.
Zelda saw a pair of orange-clad leggings in front of her. She looked up and saw Link. Link, she said, feeling herself blushing. He'd been her friend for 3 years, and she still couldn't believe that she'd had sex with him. You know, you look really pretty when you blush, said Link, as he sat down next to her. I just feel so confused, Link, Zelda murmured. About what? Us? Asked Link, as he scooted so he would be sitting in front of her. Facing her, he reached out and cupped the side of her face in his hand and stroked her temple with his thumb. Zelda nodded. I'm not sure what I feel, she said. Well, I do know that I love you very much, said Link as he took her hand. I meant what I said. You are very precious to me. And it has nothing to do with you, with your being a princess. Nothing whatsoever. I know, she whispered. For a while I wasn't sure whether you just wanted a good time or what. But last night, it was incredible. It was like I could feel your love. What has my life come to? I'm sitting on the couch, reading a fan fiction, with the obvious intent of uploading this to YouTube. I need friends. I need more friends. Who does this shit? Who writes this? Of course, I wanted a good time, and I got one. But I know what you're saying, said Link. I wanted you to enjoy it as well. I did enjoy it very much, Zelda murmured quietly. To be honest, I was wondering if you'd come out here to gloat. Link shook his head. I just wanted to spend some time with my pretty wife, he said. He opened his legs, patted the ground between his knees, inviting her to sit close to him. Zelda scooted so she was sitting between his legs, her back to him, Link put his arms around her waist and rested his chin on her shoulder. Zelda, you look more beautiful to me since last night, he told her. I feel so much closer to you, and I think I love you more than ever, if that's possible. She leaned up against him and clasped his hands in front of her navel. She placed her hands on his, feeling the wedding band on his left ring finger. She looked down at her own wedding and engagement rings. Her birthday had been 3 months ago, and the day after her father had basically ordered her to marry Link. She had 3 months to get used to the idea. Link seemed to be happy. Zelda thought as he rubbed his neck against hers, or as she rubbed her cheek against hers, she felt closer to him as well, like their bond was closer. She wondered if she was afraid of such a closeness to him. That was the best goodnight kiss I'd ever had last night, Link whispered in her ear, as he nibbled on it, and went down her neck and planted soft kisses there. Zelda closed her eyes and leaned her head to one side, exposing more of her neck. Link smoothed her hair out of the way, brushing it to one side and resuming kissing her neck, letting his tongue flicker over the skin. She could feel his hot breath on her neck and in her ear, and she could hear him moaning ever so softly as she felt his lips on her neck and ear. I enjoyed sleeping with you. I slept like a baby last night, Link told her as he rested his chin on her shoulder. Had such good dreams. Fucking story. I did too, Zelda whispered. Link squeezed her, but not too tightly. He rubbed his neck against hers. That's good, he said. I hope one day you'll be glad that you married me. I promise to be a good husband to you. And you know I'll always protect you. Zelda gently released herself from his arms and turned and knelt facing him. He held out his hands and she took them. When she looked into his eyes, she saw not smugness, or having finally had her, but rather love and adoration. That is spelled wrong. I guess I kind of misjudged you, she said, after a long pause. Oh, I just enjoyed making you mad because it was fun, Link said in a teasing tone. But seriously, I do love and care about you. I guess I kind of went a bit overboard with the teasing. Link, remember that really romantic clearing you found? I'd like to go there tonight, with you, she said, after dinner. I kind of want to go to a royal family dinner. Post in the comments if you think boiled goose would be on the dinner table. Sounds good to me, said Link. He kissed the back of her hands. He then stood up and gently pulled Zelda up with him. Zelda wound her arms around his neck. Link wrapped his arms around her waist and gave her a long, searching kiss. I love you, he whispered, as he leaned his forehead against hers, smiling at her. I love you too, Link, Zelda murmured. Oh my god. Alright. So, that's, we're not even done with chapter 1. But we will continue the story next video.
like if you've enjoyed this. It has certainly brought a new perspective on Link and Zelda's relationship to me, so I hope it's done the same for you. And I hope you guys just realize that he plowed her twice. So, good on him.